Welcome to Phambili, the building of a Wharram Tiki 38 catamaran. In our previous video we finished painting the epoxy primer coat on the upturned hull and start preparing for the grand turn. We needed to build these cradles that go beneath bulkheads 6 and 3, and these have been a source of constant puzzling out. So yeah, we've had heaps of ideas and thoughts on how to put them together. Coming a little way from the other side, just so to give it a nice cut and doesn't tear out through the bottom end. So we've drilled a hole here. This was the bottom of the cradle, and I'm wanting to possibly have a look at putting in another sheet below the cradle itself and putting a pivot point in there, maybe with an axle or something like that. We don't know yet. We haven't really sort of fully thought that out, but I've needed to cut a space in there to cope with nuts, pivot points, that kind of thing, bolts and what have you. So we're busy over here at the moment. We've drilled a hole with a hole saw, and we're about to just cut that off with a jigsaw, and hopefully that'll be that. So no major accuracy or anything required here. They'll do their job. We'll give them a coating just to seal them off and then paint them so they don't get sunburnt, and that'll be it.
Alright, these holes are being drilled so that we can put some supporting straps, be able to hold the hull to the cradle. Gluing the side supports onto the central part of the cradle, and we're just using old sanding dust, so it's saving us a little bit here. All marked off. We put a soaker coat on both sides, and now we're ready to stick on. So good squeeze.
Oh, lines lining up there.
Looks okay at the bottom. There you go. Are you going to put a fillet in there?
I'm going to run this
Stick through and
tongue depressor, and that'll do.
cool.
That'll be close enough for this.
Like I didn't show you the mess.
We cut some backing strips that would take the carpeting that would line the curved inside, just to spread the load, not have such a point load on the hull. And then we put carpeting on, and then fit it all together, cut a bit more of a relief where the keel would slot into. We were ready. Right, I'm home alone today, and I'm going to have a bit of a crack at just shifting the boat a little bit. We've got it suspended by blocks and tackles, or chain blocks, on either side, close to where the support cradles are going to hold it. And then I have a loop of rope, effectively an endless loop, that goes right around and up to the eave corners of the shed, where they are on pulleys or rope blocks. Just a sort of a double, a figure of 8 knot that joins the loop, and hopefully we'll be able to suspend the whole hull in that, and then just quietly roll it over in that sling. So not an original idea, I've seen that before, and from all accounts it works quite well. Let's see where we go. Before my hospital visit, Shah and I had managed to lift either end of the upturned hull up to prop these sawhorses underneath, and we'd removed the legs from the bulkheads. Right, obviously because the chain pull comes in just on the side, it picks up this side, so it really starts to roll it. I just want the knots so that they're close at hand, so that as we lift it slightly I can take up the slack in those rope slings. That end is fully held up at the bow by this strap. This end is still partially on the trestle. Yes, a year later I still have the same t-shirt, although it's starting to look a bit worse for wear now. Just sliding on the webbing straps at the moment. I think it'll be alright. Gently does it, Grant. Gently does it. Let's move you back to the side again. It's a bit more interesting. So we've got I've just about kissed the corner of that table. I think we'll get that sorted there. So I'll pop you on here again. I'll see what we're busy with there. So I'm not using the ropes or moving the straps. I'm just sliding it in the webbing straps at the moment. Easy does it. Gently. Don't let it swing around. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Right, I think we're going to leave it at that. I'm not too upset about that at all. I think that's worked quite well actually. It's probably a better idea just to quietly chip away at it than to have a whole bunch of people here and trying to manage everyone. Of course, if things had gone wrong, it would be a totally different story. But I think we've come right here. I've just got to get the cradles in at either end and finish assembling them. And then we can settle her down into the cradle for the rest of the build on that hull. So we'll probably catch you a bit more then. It was strange to suddenly have this new perspective that we've been looking forward to and working towards for so long.
But at the moment we're just dry fitting the floors, and Grant's just cut a hole through the bulkhead where there's going to be a walk-through, and so the floor extends all the way through there. Where Grant's hand is on the top, that's where we're going to leave that there for now, just to keep the support. and just to make it a bit sturdy until we've done a little bit more work. But the main thing is just getting that floor in, fitting and doing its thing.
Yeah.
This space here is going to be where the head goes, and you can see a bird's beaten us to it. With the hull turned now, we are ready to get ourselves working on the inside. Grant's done a good job of doing all the sanding of all the areas where we had made temporary fillets when it was upside down, which wasn't very easy to do. And now he's cleaned it all out, and they are ready for the big fillets right down deep in the bilge where the keelson meets the hull edge. That's going to get a nice thick fillet down in there on both sides, and then up the sides we're going to need to get those a little bit more beefy. So once that's all done, we will get the tabs in. So once it's just really setting up, we'll put those in as well.
Working on the joint between the hull sides and the keel proved to be a real challenge. Getting in there to grind out sufficient key from the initial gluing process when we joined the hulls to the keel was particularly tricky, and then getting in there to lay down a decent bead of glue fillet was tricky as well, and then obviously smoothing it out and tabbing that all up and barrier coating it deep in those hard, very difficult to access areas.
And on the other side?
This definitely tested my perseverance, and I eventually found the best way to tackle it was just to do it bit by bit. We focused on completing the areas in the bilges with the view to getting the floor in. This would at least allow us some place to sit comfortably or to squat on decently without being so awkward.
God's been sanding and working on the inside area that we filleted the other day, and at this stage we are ready to do barrier coats now. That little edge in the front there, that needs to be glued in, but at least we've managed to sand underneath. Probably barrier coat deep inside first before we put the glue on, just to make it easier.
Yeah. Right, so a good starting project for today. We are busy with these corners. We've got to put in more significant fillets and also tab up the bulkheads. We are just putting fillets into the stringer junctions and then coating those over with a barrier coat once we're done. We're hoping to get the tabbing over the fillet when the fillet is still green or still soft enough to form a chemical bond.
To do that, it's a shaped stick profile of it, and it just gets the profile.
I know he has well.
There's nothing like the motivation to do a good job of that than having the job of undoing the bad job.
A few years ago now, Kaz and Ben started a bit of a thing where we'd have a bit of a show and tell, and invite friends around who are interested in our progress, just so that we could have a bit of a social and kind of let them onto how we were getting on, how we were progressing, and
way back in the 50s they started
where we were moving forwards with this. So this is one of those occasions.
I don't know how many of these have been built to date, but we are plan number 166, and that was in
21st of March
2019. Yeah.
Who decided on the name, or how did you get to the name Phambili?
Move forward, make progress, and Tiwaka Phambili was just a blend of cultures. Yeah.
I don't know if Askas did that.
And if you
Phambili?
No.
Okay.
and if you turn around and look at the back of Grant's shirt,
If I turn around and look at my shirt.
yeah, I mean if Grant turns around, you'll see that's the logo that we've developed. And turn it so we can actually show the logo. Okay, you can go now. Thank you. And that's if you look at the body, it's Africa, and all the korus are around South Africa. So the koru is the heart of the Maori. That they feel as if it's at the central starting place. So yeah, so we've a bit of all sorts of things in there.
When
Yes.
did you start?
This was March, so give April.
April
2019.
19. Okay,
Yeah, and then COVID arrived, and when we had those lockdowns, we do a little bit of teaching online. Press the computer off, turn around, sanding.
Speaking of which, when we'd glue these hull panels on, I tried as best as I could scrambling underneath to actually flatten or smooth out the glue into coves of some sort, which wasn't always particularly successful, given the access issues, working upside down in the dark kind of thing and so on. So this was what was left to do, sort it out as best we could now.
Yeah, so we've always been a big fan of these filleting tools, which we call Bruce's lollipops. We've also used a large tongue depressor. It's a 1-inch tongue depressor, so with a 1-inch diameter. But we've gone on sort of the next step as these tools are evolving and looking at these. So what's particularly good about these is that as you fill it, so you've got this straight edge along there that you can use for cleaning up or scrape and clean at the same time. We'll probably show you how that goes in a few moments. And away we go. We're putting in the fillet, just as per normal. We'll make sure we do a nice full fillet. Close up any of those holes. And then leave that excess elsewhere. And we'll use these edges to clean up along the sides where you might normally use that chisel shaped scraper. So this stays with the profile but cleans the edges at the same time. And that's more or less what you're left with.
Making a big difference. Easier to handle.
Yeah, I'll have to get used to it, I think. Yeah, just develop a bit of a technique and try and get the hang of it. So we were lucky enough to be able to secure a whole lot of these credit card type cards. They were being discarded as unused student cards, and they make for a very handy tool for scraping up and cleaning up any stray excess anywhere.
Here we are, still working on the lower section of the port side hull, and over here is the forward berth. You can just see the height of the bunk there, and we're going to pop a floor in, something like this. And I'm wanting to be able to access those bulges, more just for peace of mind really, to make sure there's nothing going on down there, rather than storage, although nothing stops you from using it for storage obviously. Just a lid going in there. So we're just creating a framework here. We've already cut out a hatch lid out of the cabin sole, and I've got to work on some kind of supporting frame that'll go just beneath that to hold it all up. 5 rolling. Recess that will take that lid, put the boards in here, sand it along those edges that are going to go onto the top of Keelson, and we'll put glue in on these slope edges, and then we'll weight it all down into its space. It doesn't rest on stringers the way the other floors do, so we want to make it now to create the equivalent of those stringers. So here is the completed floor of the floor cabin. You'll see that it closes off there. That will eventually get a floor covering over it, and the walls of the hull and so on will be painted white. So thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share and subscribe, and by all means drop us a comment. We do try to get back to everyone.